Hello, you guys, and welcome back. Day number 3 of our 12 days of Christmas crafting. So let's get into this. We are going to be opening up box number 3 or window number 3 of our 12 days of crafting advent calendar. If you guys have been following me, you've already seen that I've opened 1 and 2. So let's do 3. Drum roll. Let's push this in. Pop this open. Let's see what we get. Oh my goodness gracious. Look how beautiful these little embellishments are. Ooh, and they're kind of beveled at the top. They almost look like a, like your ring. You know how it's like diamond cut? It's kind of like that at the top of these. It looks like these come in a couple different shapes as well. Ooh, and there's a ton of them. This bag is just full of these. One side is flat, the other side is rounded. Beautiful little embellishments. These will be fabulous. All you have to do is use one of your mini glue dots, stick on the back, or just a dab of your multi-purpose glue. So these are super fun. Woohoo! I'm just going to set those back in there just so I don't lose anything. All right, and here is the stamp set that goes with this beautiful box, the 12 Days of Crafting Advent Calendar. And just remember that this does not have really anything to do with Christmas. So just know that this will be for all occasion crafting. You've got miss you, healing, thinking of you, love you, you know, birthday wishes, fabulous. So the last 2 days that we've opened things, you could tell that they don't, you know, center around Christmas. But for as far as my 12 days of Christmas crafting, I have been making a fun little treat box. Today is going to be a little like treat giving / gift card holder for, you know, some of your, you know, these would be fabulous if you go to the doctors. You can give these to your doctors, receptionists, you know, you go to the dentist. These are great if you've got kiddos that are in school. You could do this for a preschool. I don't know about like the treat that you put in it. Yeah, I mean, it would be the parents' discretion whether or not they want the kiddo to have that all at one setting. But you guys will find many, many things to do with this. These are actually really good stocking stuffers too. That's what I should have started with because that's what I'm using them for. My kids have asked for gift cards this year, so that's what I'm doing. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with day number 3's project. So we are going to need our paper trimmer. I am Danny Garola, Pink Barn Stamper, coming to you guys with this Christmas series. So we are going to start out. This is Garden Green. This is 9.5 by 4. Now we are going to start out by doing some scoring on this. We're going to start with the short side being bumped up to our bumper up here. And it looks like we're going to start out with a 1/2 inch score all the way down. So make sure we move our dark cutting blade all the way to the bottom because we don't want that becoming a distraction, grabbing the wrong thing. So we're going to score at a 1/2 inch and then move it over to 3/4 of an inch. Okay. Then we're going to flip this completely around and we're going to do that same exact thing. So we're going to start out with 1/2 inch. And move it over to 3/4 of an inch. Okay, now on that long side, this long side, we're going to also bump that up to our top and we're going to score at 3. And then move it down to 3 3/4, just like so. Okay. Now you can do this one of 2 ways. You can line this back up in your channel and you can go to the 3/4 inch score and cut all the way down to our second score line at the bottom. We're going to cut right past the first score into the second one. So you can either line it up on here because we've got our cutting blade on here. Make sure we've got that lined up right on our 3/4 inch. And we're going to go all the way down. And because we've got this little tick mark on the side, we can actually watch. So I'll do the first one with my score blade, and then I'm going to stop watching that little tick to my second score line, like so. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it and bring this in to that second score line on that little channel. Bring this down, make sure I line it up. And then I'm just going to go up until I feel it do that give. Okay, I felt it give on that, so then that piece will be removed. So there we go. Okay, you can choose to do it that way, or I find it a little bit easier than having to try to watch all my lines, to just take my snips. And again, I'm going into that 3/4 inch score line. And you might be asking, well, then why did we score that? Well, because we need those score lines down here, and it's easier to just score the whole paper in the beginning. If I can get my scissors in here. And then I'm going to go all the way up to that second score line. So I'm going to cut through the first one and go to the second one, just like so. Okay, and then again down here, going to the second score line and cut straight up to that center point. And I can see that I didn't go all the way up. Okay, just like that. So now I've got these little 1/4 inch score lines. I'm just going to take this and give those a good crease. Get my bone folder here. Do it again on this one. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing on the inside here. And you might notice that we're making a little pocket here. Okay, this pocket is then going to fold up just like that. See how that all folds nicely together, but you've still got your little pocket to tuck our little surprise in the inside of that. Okay, so now I have a piece of designer series paper. Now this is 2 1/4 by 5 3/4. And this is going to go right in here. Now it doesn't go all the way down to the bottom. That's okay, because we're going to cover that anyways. Our next piece here, this is 2 1/4 by 2 3/4. Now I try to make sure I've got this lined up correctly. So either way I put it in there, I make sure it's going to match. But I think I like it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down, and I'm just going to use my multi-purpose glue. And I'm only worrying about the top portion, so I'm just lining that up on there, leaving my green border all the way around. Now, if you're wondering, this paper is a retired paper. This is called Reindeer Days paper. This is a retired paper, but I just figured, you know what? With all these little gift giving, it's a perfect time to use up some of my retired paper. Okay, now this little piece, again, matching that all up. That's why I make sure when I cut my paper to begin with, I cut a 2 1/4 inch strip down the whole 12 inches length. And then I cut my 5 3/4 for my first piece. And then I cut my 2 3/4 for my bottom piece. So then I know that everything is lining up correctly. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our 2 little inside flaps. Now this is where things get a little bit fiddly, but it's not hard. We're going to take some Terran tape because we don't want these ends to come apart. Okay, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Running that down, just like so. Okay, now I'm going to take this side off first and holding it like so. I'm going to line that. Well, I better take this side off too because otherwise I won't be able to get my hands in there. So I'm going to take this and with my bone folder, I'm going to line up the bottom first, bringing that all the way down to that bottom score line and then just lining up my side and placing my finger on there. Then I can take my bone folder and kind of just give that a good push in there to make sure that that is sealed. And then over here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line up my bottom corner first, pushing that out just a bit, and then running that straight up like so. Bringing my bone folder in and giving that a nice push down to make sure that that all gets adhered in there. And then I've got this perfect little box. Isn't that so cute? Okay, then, which I've got, okay, then guess what we're going to put inside of this? I have got my Hershey's bar that now slides right inside of there perfectly. And it will also fit our gift card in there as well. So it is dual purposed. They get a candy and their gift card. So what I'm going to do next is I need to grab a piece of just basic white. And we're going to decorate this up a little bit because we want to make it pretty for our recipients. I think I had this is cherry, but that's not really what I want. Thought I had I'm going to just use white actually, since it's what I have here. So I'm going to use my white. And we are going to stamp on here. So I have decided to bring in the sign design. This fits perfectly across my little card here. And then I'm also using the sign design punch. So I think I'm going to actually stamp that. Let's do the garden green since it's kind of our base color. I'm going to grab my piercing mat here. We're going to ink that up in the garden green. And you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to stamp that off first. Oh, that's stamping pretty good. Sometimes I have to use my Stampin' Spritz. Oops, wrong one. The Stampin' Spritz. And I just need to mist this a little bit. Living here in the desert of Tucson, Arizona, my ink pads seem to dry out. So let's try this. But let me show you if I was to just take, I'm going to do this just like, I just don't want to get everything wet, and just kind of mist that. Just a couple little spritz. These are water-based and all I'm using is water in my spritzer. Now let's see if this stamps much nicer. Oh, beautiful. Yep. It does much better if I just dampen that just a little bit because the moisture does get kind of evaporated out of that pad. So I'm going to cut this one off because I have decided I'm going to use this one because it got a much better print. And then putting this down inside of this punch. That punches out perfect. Okay, so that is then going to go on the front of my little base here. I'm then going to use, this is my white ribbon, and we're just going to go like so and make just a little bow. Okay, like that. And I'm gonna cut this where it looks a little bit better than this one that's been kind of jagged there. And then there is my cute little bow. Pull my little tails down like so. Okay. Move that out of the way. Now I'm gonna pop these up with some dimensionals. I want to pop up the little label here. This will fit right across the front here. Perfect. And then using a mini glue dot, I just put it right in the center of the back of my bow. Voila. And then that goes right in the center there. Isn't that cute? Oh, love it. Love how these turn out. And I actually have another one that I'm going to show you guys too that I made just because I love these. And like I said, I am making them for stocking stuffers. And then we can grab, I'm going to actually use, well, I was debating which ones I wanted to use. I love the red and the green in this. I thought those would be really pretty. These are called the traditional sparkling sequins. Or I like just the white stars from this. This is the shimmering star foam. And we've got these white little that I thought would just be so cute. So I'm going to use those. I'm going to stick with my original idea. I'm going to grab the little white ones here. And this is my take your pick tool. I'm going to put that one there. I'm going to grab a big one. Put right up there. And then I'm going to use a tiny little one. They're really tiny. And I'll put it down there. So cute. Oh, now let me show you the other one that I made. Isn't that adorable? So not only do they get a sweet treat, but they also get a gift card as well. So here's the other one that I made. This one I used the shaded spruce color for that. And again, you can take this and this slides right inside of that little pouch. And then you can actually, somebody could re-gift that if they wanted to for the following year. But these little candy bars slide just perfectly inside of there. And I just love how quick and easy those turn out. Now, if your candy bar, if you're afraid of it sliding out, you could take a mini glue dot and put on the back and stick that in there. And that mini glue dot is plenty of adhesive to hold that in there. But what do you guys think of those? Aren't those so cute, quick and easy? And that is kind of the whole goal of what I wanted to share with you guys during my 12 days of Christmas. Now, as we do get going, I will get a couple of my projects that are going to be more, you know, detailed and a little bit more. I have a really cute wreath that I will share with you guys that does take a little bit more time. But little sweet gift giving things like these are great to have made up just so you can take them on the go or have them sitting around when unexpected guests show up. All right. Thank you for joining me for day number 3. I will see you tomorrow for day number 4. Bye-bye.